Hello, good afternoon. It's already 3 p.m. So I think we can already start. First of all, saying hello to all of you, and thank you very much for joining this webinar. This webinar is about training of call takers and dispatchers. So I'm sure it will be super interesting. And what I suggest is, as we need a couple of minutes more to make sure that everybody has the chance to connect. We can start making a quick roll call to know each of you who is on the call. So I will start with Rose.
Hi, I'm Rose from EENA. I'm the knowledge officer.
Thank you, Rose. Then we have Anne Dennis. If you can present yourself very briefly. Oh. Hello, Anne. Then we have one of our speakers, David Ruiz. Hello, David.
Hello there.
Can you introduce briefly yourself to know where you work?
Yes, I'm working in 112 Catalonia. I'm one of the team manager coordinator in the training program here in Catalonia. Welcome to everybody.
Thank you, David. We have Dicht. Hello, Dicht. Hanrian, I don't know if how to pronounce it. Or Dike. I think there are some of them having. Hello, yes.
Hello. My name is Rianne van Dijk. I'm from Holland, and I'm a training coordinator.
Okay, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Edith Denef.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, my name is Edith Denef. I'm from Antwerp, Belgium, and I'm the training coordinator for Antwerp.
Thank you. Welcome. Giovanni. Then we have also Gustavo Lopez. Hello, Gustavo. Well, I think he has some issues with the sound. Irache Gomez.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Irache Gomez, Vice Chair of the EENA Committee, representing Atos from Spain.
Thank you, Irache. Welcome. Ivanka Kehayova from 112 Bulgaria.
Hello, good afternoon. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm a coordinator in Regional Center 112 in Bulgaria.
Thank you. JV.
Hello, my name is Juha-Veli Frantti. I'm working in ERC Agency Finland, and I'm a head of operational unit. And what can I say? 10 points.
Thank you. Kaili?
Hi, I'm Kaili. Sorry, I'm Kaili from Estonia. and at the moment I'm working for the Ministry of the Interior, but I have experience on 112 field 11 years.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Clara.
Hi, my name is Clara Törlen. I'm a PhD student from Karolinska Institutet in Stockholm, and I'm interested in this field for my PhD studies.
Thank you, Clara. Welcome.
Thank you.
Liutauras. Okay, Luciana. Then we have also Natalia Mitkova. Can you hear us, Natalia?
I'm Natalia Miskova from Bulgaria, 112 Bulgaria. I'm the head of regional center, Burgas.
Okay, thank you. We have also Nick.
Hello, I'm Nick. I'm the Strategic Operations Manager for Scottish Ambulance Service in the UK, and previous to that, I was the Training and Development Manager for the Manchester Emergency Control Room at Northwest Ambulance Service in England.
Thank you, Nick. We have also Nikolai from 112 Bulgaria. Hello, Nikolai. Okay. Paulina. I think some of you have some issues with the sound. Renata Mirkova. Hello, Renata. Can you hear us? Is this 13? I guess they are from France.
Hello, I'm Yves. I'm coming from France and near Marseille, and the call center from 112.
Thank you very much and welcome. Sebastian from Eurostar Ambulance.
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Okay, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, of course, I'm CEO of non-profit, but also public-private new rescue organization in Slovenia.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Steve?
Thank you. This is Steve from Commenta in Sweden. Hello.
Hello. Tobias Immenroth?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Tobias Immenroth from Germany. I'm a professor of University of Applied Science in Wolfsburg, and we offer paramedic course. That's my interest.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Tobias. And Willem van Alphen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Willem from the Netherlands, Dutch National Police, from the National Organization of Emergency Centers, and I'm responsible for the continuity of the process in the Netherlands and listening in today on this subject.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. And I think we can already start. I think we had already given the opportunity to everyone to connect. So I will give the floor to my colleague Rose, who will be handling the slides also. So and we'll introduce the speakers.
Hi, so today we're going to have 4 speakers. So we have representatives from emergency services in Estonia, Catalonia, Finland and Scotland. So just one thing to note is that after each presentation, you'll get the opportunity to ask questions. So you can either ask them by audio, or you can also write them in the chat and then I'll read them out. So feel free to leave any questions there. And just to say that when you're not speaking, if you can just make sure that your mic is muted so that we avoid any background noise for the presenters. So our speakers are Kaili, David, Juha-Veli and Nick. And the first speaker will be Kaili. So we can go to Kaili now.
Hi again. Like I previously told, I'm Kaili from Estonia, and at the moment I'm working for the Ministry of the Interior, and I'm here advisor, and my responsibility field is a strategy of 112. And next slide, please. But I won't talk about the Ministry of the Interior, but I will talk about the Emergency Response Center and also about the Estonian Academy of Security Sciences. But it's just a picture to show you that under the Ministry of the Interior, there are quite many agencies in Estonia, and as you can see, Emergency Response Center is separate organization, quite similar like Finland. And why Academy of Security Sciences is very important for us is that call takers are trained at the Rescue College. Next slide, please. So, but first, I have to introduce our 112 model here in Estonia. I think that it's very important background to understand why the training period here in Estonia is quite long, and why different subjects and areas has to be covered. Though our call takers and dispatchers are rescue officials here in Estonia, and they are so-called multifunctional. They are answering all 112 calls, and call takers are making risk evaluation. They are inserting all the data to the database, and they don't transfer call to the separate agencies, because dispatchers who are dispatching ambulance and rescue resources are also employees of the Emergency Response Center. It's a bit different with police cases, but I won't go into details right here, right now. And in Estonia, we have approximately 180 call takers, dispatchers, and supervisors altogether. And 112 calls are answered in 4 regional centers, and also operational units are dispatched in 4 regional centers. Next slide, please. So the basic training is at the Academy of Security Sciences, and there are occupational standards for call takers, dispatchers, and supervisors, and they are our call takers. When we are thinking about European skills, competence, qualifications, and occupations level, then our call takers are on the level 4. I will mainly talk about call takers training today, because supervisors are not definitely trained at the Academy of Security Sciences, and actually the dispatchers curriculum is now under construction, though I think that maybe this call takers part is more interesting for you maybe. Next slide, please. Though the training period is 1 study year, which is 10 months, and all call takers are learning medical, rescue, police, sciences, and also general subjects, for example languages, because all our call takers has to know both Estonian and Russian, and supervisors also other foreign languages. And also legislation is very important for call takers, of course. And when they start the training period, it's September, and in April they are already ready to come to our regional centers and put their skills to do the practice. It's a 2-month internship in the regional centers. In the beginning, of course, call takers there are somebody always beside every newbie, but usually in the end they are already able to work independently. And there are some requirements for call takers to enter your school. They have to have Estonian citizenship. They should have secondary education, and also background check and medical examination has to pass. Next slide, please. But actually, of course, call takers are still learning every day when they are already in the control room. And there are quite many different ways to carry on this on-site training. In Estonia, we have a quality control system, and in this system, we find out the personal training needs. For example, somebody has some problems with handling, for example, rescue cases, then we can help her to be better. When we have some new developments or new ways to handle, I mean, we have the minor updates, then we are using key persons. There are some persons from control room who are more active and maybe more, I don't know, smart maybe. They are the ones who will then teach to others, and they are also supporting every day those who need support. Also, internal training is very important. For example, when we implemented AML, it was actually quite a minor update. Though we made only documents which were uploaded on intranet, and then call takers could learn from them. And of course, in case they had some questions, they could ask from key persons or from the development department. E-learning, also it's coming more and more important. For example, when e-call was introduced in Estonia, it also wasn't so big update for call takers, so we made a video and uploaded it to our intranet, so everybody could watch, also read materials, and in case they had questions, they could ask from key persons or from the development department. And job shadowing is becoming more and more popular. For example, our call takers are riding with ambulance teams, and also ambulance people are sitting in our control room. It's very important that they understand each other's job, and in everyday cooperations, it's one of the key elements. Next slide, please. And with training itself doesn't work when there is not support to the call takers and dispatchers. For example, there are gyms in all 4 regional centers, and it's also possible to get psychological support. There is not a psychologist in 112, but there are service partners, and the call takers are free to use it. It seems to be more convenient, because in case there would be somebody in the house all the time, I think that it's sort of tricky business to talk about your programs, etc. When somebody is outside, it's more convenient. And also, like I told you, we have gyms in all regional centers, but also emergency response center give them money for sporting or massage or whatever somebody would like to make for his or her health. so it's also supported by Emergency Response Center. And I think that it was my last slide. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaili, for your presentation. Does anyone have any questions? You can either just say them, or you can type them in the chat, and I'll read them out. If anyone has any questions for Kaili, speak now. And one thing to note is that, oh yeah, please carry on.
Sorry, no, this is Irache. Kaili, thank you very much for your presentation. One quick question. How many people do actually request to be more or less, not a final number or anything like that, to request to be call takers or dispatchers in the 112 Estonia service? How many people do you get to train, and how many people does it actually become a call taker dispatcher?
Actually, last year the group was 12 persons. This year, or next autumn, it will be 20. In recent years, we have been quite successful. When we wanted to recruit 12, then we recruited 12, but still there are some people, one or two, who won't work as call takers, never, because during this 1 year training they understand that, okay, this is not a job for me.
Thank you, Kaili.
And Kaili, we have a question in the chat. It's, do you have a shortage of personnel in Estonia?
Yes, sort of. Actually, on a couple of days ago, there was open doors day in 112 centers, and actually the aim was to find good people who would like to make this job, and there were quite many people who are interested. So I think that 112 is more and more promoting the work of call takers, and people are more and more aware about it, and they would like to make that kind of job. So I think that the situation is going better.
And another question in the chat is, how long does each work shift last?
It's 12 hours. Usually the regular shift is from 8 to 8, but of course there are some extra shifts and so on.
And does anyone else have any questions for Kaili? Okay, then thank you so much, Kaili. And we can move to David from Catalonia, who will be the next presenter today.
Hello again. Thanks, Rose. Well, I'm the team manager, coordinator here in Catalonia, so I will show you the program, the call taker education program for us here in Catalonia. Next slide, please. Okay, we have 7 topics here. The distribution is introducing 112 Catalonia, training team, initial training, operational training program, communication skills, emotional management, and finally quality management in PSAP Catalonia. So in the next step, we can see our service, 112 Catalonia. Next slide, please. Thanks. Here, 112 Catalonia takes more than 2.8 million calls every year, okay? And we have 2 PSAP, one in Reus and the other in Barcelona, in Zona Franca, okay? So we are one service with 2 PSAP, but we are only one service, no? So every PSAP is backup from the other. Okay, if one of them has many calls, the other can receive the rest of the calls. Okay, and of course, actually, we have more than 150 call takers. And next slide, please. The training team, the service model implanted in Catalonia awards the management of the emergency number to the public company CAT 112. Okay, we are working together with the borrowing service company, who is in charge of the formation. Okay, but they are under our supervision. Okay, so the company, this company takes on the accountability for call takers' education. On a monthly meeting, CAT 112 supervises and validates the subject matters and annual planning proposed by the borrowing service companies. We are working together every month. Okay. Next slide, please. The initial training, 80 hours, 10 days per call taker. Okay, and theoretical and practical training. This is what and how. Okay, and our thematic 112 introduction, competencies of emergency agencies. It's important know how works police, firemen, health services, whatever. Okay, management of Seneca. Seneca is our principal software. Okay, to take care of the emergency, and of course management of GIS. It's important to know how to locate, and this is a program that can use to this goal. Okay. A coding system tree. We have 500 different emergency situations, so it's important typificate here correctly. Okay. Protocols and special procedures. It's important, and communicate skills, and finally the theme is for tutoring and practice. Okay. And in the next slide, please, we can see an operational training program, 3 structures, annual training plan. As I said before, it is under our supervision, a minimum of 32 annual training hours per call taker, and 2 types of training, one online through online courses, and the other in person, individually or in groups of 3-5 maximum operators. In the next slide. In the fundamental contents, knowledge of procedures, special systems advice to 112. It's important for us because not only we have a current call, we have one app, My 112, which provides geolocation by GPS. So the call taker has to be familiarized with this application. And the other one is the application My 112 accessible for deaf people. Through pictograms, can contact with 112 here in Catalonia, and they can send emergency via chat. Okay, and of course the other content is operational training, locations and knowledge of the territory, management of relevant incidents, and personalized improvement. In fact, locations and knowledge of the territory is very important, not only for us, for every 112. Knows the location, where is the emergency, is the most important question for us. Okay, so call taker has to be trained in this subject. Next slide, please. The communication skills are basically how to extract this information, get the maximum information in the less possible time. How? Leading the call, adaptation to different types of emergency situations, and of course, giving skills to extract that information. Adapt the language to situations such as non-collaborative caller, stress situation, language barriers, whatever. Okay, a role play real calls. Okay, to train in the response of the call taker in different situations. Okay. And finally, empathy and assertiveness, because this is a way to manage the calls in an assertive manner, avoiding aggressive or passive attitudes or expressions. And next slide. The emotional management, that's a point that makes the difference. Sessions to share experience in call attention led by an expert coordinator of quality and training team members. This is very, very important for us too. And the objective basically is relativize the bad experience, so the call takers can boost their own capabilities improve their own emotional capacities. Okay, in fact, we are not machines, we are humans, so we can give the keys or the tools to the call takers to solve the emergency. Okay, and emotional management is an important subject for us, or a relevant subject for us in the education of the call taker. And next slide, please. The quality management in PSAP Catalonia, annual quality plan, review of annual quality goals. As I said before, we are under supervision of that plan with the borough service company, and a monthly call audit system. Okay, are around 200 monthly calls that are randomly selected by us, and audit together with supervisors and the quality team, and of course putting the results in common every month. It's important for us because we are working to be better every month. Okay, and a daily management, daily audit of all incidents that are considered relevant, 3, 4, 5, 10 per day, fires, accidents, chemical emergencies, etc. Okay. In the next slide, we can, in the monthly audit system, we have different attributes that are evaluated. Okay, perception of the call, handling of the call, oral and written expression, attitude, emergency identification, global emergency management, the structure of the information. Okay, very, very, very important for us because we are connecting telematically with different agencies, with police, firemen, and health services. So the structure has to be the most accurate possible. So this point is important for us. Okay, attention time, typification, and adaptation to the service protocols. And finally, next slide, the web CAT 112 and our intranet give the tools and the skills to the call taker every day to get the better response in the emergency calls. Okay, we are working every day to be better in that case. Okay, so next slide is, thank you for your attention. I hope it has been helpful for you.
Thank you so much, David, for your presentation. Just to kick things off, I've already got a question in the chat. So it's, what sort of service do you use to help translate 112 calls if the caller speaks another language?
Okay, all the people here working, all the call takers, has English, French, or Germany. Okay, we are working of course, in Spanish and Catalan, and 3 more languages, English, French, and German. But we are working together with a foreigner company to translate the calls, which are in 50 different languages. Okay, and we can put the call to by conference to another people who are translating the information in other languages, like we're in Bulgaria, Estonian, Finland, Finnish, Chinese, Japanese, 50 different languages. Okay.
Thank you. And do we have any other questions for David? You can either write them in the chat or just speak through your microphone. We have some here. So we have one question that says, how many calls per day do you have? And how, I think it means how big is the population in Catalonia? It's in French, so I'm just translating.
Sorry, again.
So it's how many calls do you receive each day? And I think the question is, how big is also the population of Catalonia?
Okay, Catalonia is 7 million, 7 million and a half, more or less, and around 6,000 or 7,000-8,000 every day emergency calls. Yes.
And another question, what qualification is required to apply to be a call taker in 112 Catalonia?
Secondary education, basically. And after that, the course, as I said before, 10 days and a proof period, okay? And then we can evaluate the call takers aspirants.
Mm-hmm. And a question about the evaluation. So do you evaluate the accuracy of the dispatch of ambulances monthly as well?
Yes, this is very important. And yes, that's an important check for us because we have to send a more accurate structure. We have one structure very specific, and we have to see or to learn in that structure, you know. So it's important for us, and we are checking every month this by a system that we are working together with supervisors on quality team, CAT 112. We are working together to evaluate this structure because it's very important. For ambulance, for instance, we have to know where is the emergency, of course, what happens, but what happens basically, and because it's important because after that the ambulance service can send the resource quickly because the first structure of 112 is accurate and good, you know, so it's important.
Mm-hmm. And one final question in the chat. So what is the 112 model in Catalonia?
Well, it's based in a borough service company who are take of supervisors and call takers. Okay, we are receiving the calls, and after that, by a telematic service, as I said before, we are sending the information to the different agencies. But the resource, the final resource, it's we don't take care of the final resource because we are sending all the information, not sending the resource, you know. So 2 different buildings here in Reus and in Barcelona, and one model of 112. One of each building, as I said, is back up from the other. We are receiving the calls, we are classifying the emergency, and after that we are sending the emergency dates to the different agencies in Catalonia.
And do we have any other questions for David? So we have one more. I think we have one more question. So we have, do you have different call takers, dispatchers for medical, fire and police calls?
No, not a specific call takers for medical services or fire emergencies. No. Every call taker can respond about all the whole emergencies.
And we have a follow-up question. So this is from the person that asked, do you evaluate the accuracy of the dispatch of ambulances as well? And this person says, maybe I misunderstood your answer, but how do you evaluate the accuracy and what gold standard do you use?
We have a program. We have a program specific, and we have very checks to check if the information is accurate. This is a specific program from Catalonia, okay, with marks, with notes from 1 to 5, and well, we appreciate the information because information is in the incident, so we can evaluate it manually, and then we can check the information through a specific program in Catalonia with some marks, you know. So we can check if the audio contains or if the text contains the information that are shown in the incident, you know. So we can check it, and after that we can mark some different points, and through a specific program in 112 Catalonia. But it's a program, not any special program. It's our program with working together with supervisors and quality. But then it's a specific program for 112 Catalonia. But basically, notes from 1 to 5, depending on the accurate on the note or the emergency.
And another question is, what is your absence percentage? Is it increasing?
I don't know exactly. I don't know, maybe exactly. I don't know the absolutely, but we are receiving all the emergency calls, but I don't know. I don't know because it's not a formation task, but I don't know exactly the sense. Sorry.
Okay. And do we have any other questions for David? Or if not, we'll move to the next speaker. I can't see any more in the chat. So perhaps we'll move to the next speaker. Thank you so much for your presentation. So the next speaker is from Finland. So we can go to Juha-Veli, who will be presenting next.
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon to everyone, and greetings from Finland. Next 25 minutes you will hear an update about our emergency response center services in Finland and how we manage our duties nowadays. At first, I must say that thank you to Kaili and David. We must say that we have a lot of same things that you have heard about their presentations, and then one thing what I write up was what David told about quality management, because it is a big challenge, and this auditoring system is very important and interesting. What about, I can say my unit is taking care or have responsibility of training and quality and ERICA ICT program and cooperation with all authorities. So we have a lot of work to do and a lot of persons who are making different kind of works. But the main point is that we have 5.5 million inhabitants. We have just only one emergency number, 112, where we are handling all kind of emergency things, even if they are coming from rescue, police, or health, or whatever. So it means that our operators, they must be very skillful. And there is coming in 2.8 million 111 calls per year. What about this basic model in Finland? Most of ERC operators in the emergency centers, so thank you. The next page, Rose, please. As you can see, we have making a lot of cooperation with Estonia, and then most of ERC operators in emergency response centers are working as call takers. The call takers are also taking care of urgent dispatching with the different authorities units when it is possible. It means that they are giving all kind of extra information which is coming from the field. And the same operators may also work in the task monitoring role, where their role is to different kind of supporting task and dispatch the task to queue. It means that they are supporting the call takers also, as well the field commanders and units, and that is so we have two kind of operators there inside. But anyway, it is the main point that all our operators, they must have to be which kind of table they should work. But anyway, and also this task monitoring role and then the dispatching role is also that they are taking care of urgency class, the cases where urgency class are lower. And together we have 500 operators and 6 centers. So this is the short, and may I have the next? And then is the basic training. This is maybe very exciting, because we think that Finland has the biggest or longest operators degree program, because the studies comprise a total of 90 credits, and the studies can be completed 1.5 years. And also a bachelor's degree in police services qualifies for working as an ERC operator. Maybe we Finnish are so slow to learn, so this is so long, I don't know, but anyway, each year there is two courses, and we are trying to get each year 32 new operator at work. We have luck all the time, and it means that all these who can graduate, we can hire these. And the place where we are having this training is Emergency Service College in Kuopio, and also Police University College in Tampere. So those our operators, they have lot of or very big queue. They can see which kind of things also the authorities are working, and also they have a lot of good contacts. So, and also our emergency response center agency is training these operators. Operators' work is independent profession, and that is maybe some kind of difference with others, because their background is, like Kaili told, we are checking these backgrounds very carefully, and also this we have very same kind of system to which kind of person we would like to have here. And maybe next slide, please. And then is coming our hottest topic at the moment, and it is the new ERC system called ERICA. It is so that now when we have 6 centers, it is working now in 5 centers, and next Tuesday morning very early we are taking it also in Kerava center, what is the biggest center in Finland. So we are just a little bit, it's very exciting, and we are making a lot of work now. Next slide please. And maybe shortly we can tell about something about this. The ERICA system it will be the nationwide networked information system, but it means that you can call for wherever you can see in the call in Finland. So this is how this is coming. If you're calling, it provides these services throughout the country. So it is possible that the main thing is that if you're phoning in Lapland, the most of these calls are going to Oulu, or this the northern part of Finland. But it is also possible that if there is very big rush in Oulu, it can be and come, for example, here in Turku where I'm now. So this is networked system, and also the biggest change is that the ERICA system will be used not only by emergency response center agency, but also this our cooperators also, I mean police, fire and rescue, health and social services, as well as border guard in their command and control centers with the users right. It means that this is all authorities together used system. Even we are owning that and we are taking care of, but that all kind of things. And so this is giving very big possibility to make real cooperation and collaboration, this new ICT system. What else I can tell you that there is also it can make optimal use of the resources of the emergency response centers and enables obtaining real-time situational picture of the internal security in the whole country. As you know that there is also a little part of Finland what is calling Ahvenanmaa, or for Swedish Åland. It is so that it is out of this, but we are still making very good cooperation that it is independent area here in Finland. Next place, please. What else? So the main points maybe are that ERICA contains a lot of new things for call taking and dispatching. The biggest issue for the ERC operator is getting 1 or 2 calls from around the whole country, and there is also integrated risk analysis, which is a big change of our working culture. So it means that when the operator is answering and he is finding the right way to continue, he's making questions and putting yes, yes, or no, no, and it is going straight, and with some questions, after some questions, the ECT system shows that now you can make this alarming system. But anyway, there is one thing that all these authorities are responsibility to make and give orders to us, so we can build this system so well that the machine can help the operator to work. So it is giving also automatic geopositioning of caller, automatic answer, integrated risk analysis, and integrated communication tool, phone, Tetra, emergency SMS, and what is very important, with quality real-time response time of units, drive time calculation, and dispatch calculation and response proposal. So there is a lot of things what this new ICT system is giving to us. Next slide, please. What about another training? So ERICA training, it has been very big challenge for us. So there is a lot of different kind of trainings, online introduction, basic training, special training for this integrated risk analysis, complementary training in the run-up phase. It is like virtual work. And also we have this refresh trainings, which we are calling the clinic. And also there is a lot of material, and also with this electronic Moodle learning environment. Training was done off site by the local supervisors. All centers have these supervisors, which has responsibility of this ERICA training. And also first 2 weeks when we are making this implementation, so we are taking this ERICA, there is 2 weeks 24 supporting for this. And you can see that there is all over 40,000 working hours spent in training in our new tool in ERC Agency. So we are making a lot of work with this. May I have next slide, please? And this is not all. Next slide. There is also another training, continuing training for operative staff. So it means that we have all the time we have training, and but we are trying to tell that there is a lot of different kind of times these years, and what we have winter time, summer times, and a lot of these special trainings. AML was one of these, and also what we are thinking, this educational teams are, for example, processes and roles in the operational rooms, call handling, seasonal times, information systems, cooperations between authorities, excluding public warning, language training. So Finland is, we have 2 official languages, and then also we have translation company which is helping for other languages, and also instructor skills. So there is a lot of different kind of trainings, and also teaching methods are like normal classroom teaching, rooming in coaching and self-study, and like the Moodle, and also shift supervisors they have very important role, and also senior operators, because they are key players to learn these younger ones. May I have next slide? Thank you. Then also occasional senior officer training. It means that I think there is a little mistake, because there you can see that with the third flat, but it is we are trying to get to create the overall picture of managerial field of human resources management, and to clarify the role of supervisors and supervisors development. So as I told, that senior officers and supervisors are the key players, and we are trying to get and train them as much as possible. The goal is to provide the ability to act the close associate of our own group. So it means that there is a lot of things that the supervisors, they must be very skillful, and they must have a lot of different kind of leading skills. There is also, or I'm trying to say that the shift supervisors, and they must have these skills, and there is some training contents. For example, the framework for supervisors' work, overview of leadership yesterday, today, the role of supervisor, principles of human rights management, and juridical issues, also acting of group leader. There is a lot of things, dialogue skills as asking and listening, and managing of his own group, and cooperation between these also other all authorities, and also guidance of students which are coming to us. And third one is functional international in managerial work, coaching and team leading, group dynamics, conflicts in work community, and communication of public officer, and successful communication of a manager. And the last one is maybe the most important, is leadership of well-being, because the operator's work is very hard, and I think that it is only not our country that there is a lot of problems to keep these officers at work. So well-being is very important, and there is things that they must also identify and avoid, for example, burnout things. Let's see what have we next, and I think that was all. Please, I'm listening questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We already actually have 3 questions, I think, in the chat. So the first question is, Finland has 2 official languages, but do you have any requirements of call takers to understand both Finnish and Swedish?
It is so that our operators are using, I'm now speaking like juridical systems, they are using public power, but not special public power as police officers. There is that is very important difference. So our operators, they don't have to use both languages, but actually, if we are thinking at the normal life, they should but it is so that our office they have duty to make the service possible to both languages. My personal opinion is that we should have two languages per operators. But it is so that only 5% of Finnish people are speaking as Swedish as a mother language. So this is just a little bit historical, difficult thing.
And we have another question, which is how many people apply to become 112 operators on average per year?
Maybe last time was 450, and that is one thing that we must make all the time work, that we can tell that how make this work very interesting. It is up to us also. How can we call these new operators?
And also a similar question is, what is the attrition rate in your organization?
No, I didn't understand. Tradition.
Perhaps, I think this is from Arachi, so I don't know if Arachi you can connect by audio and explain.
Yes, sorry about that. How many people, what is the employee turnover? I mean, how many people actually leave the organization? I also ask about how many people want to become one operators, and how many people want to, how many people leave the organization per year, or how many people do you have to replace, in fact?
Yes, that is very interesting question, because nowadays, if I'm thinking the life 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it is so that people, when they come to work, it was they think that this is my work almost my whole life. But nowadays, these young people, they are coming and they can also say that, hey, I would like to come here. I can be here maybe 2-5 years, but then I would like to have new work. And we can say maybe it is 15-20 persons per year is leaving. Most of them are going to study more, have another profession, and some of them have another profession in background, and they are going back to their work, ex-work.
And we have another question.
Actually,
oh, sorry, continue.
May I, yes, and I told just a little bit wrong, because it is actually so that it is more than 20, because we are missing just 20, maybe every year we are missing some. So this emergency school, it can't train so much persons what we would like to have. Maybe it is 35 per year.
Thank you.
What we are missing.
One of the other questions is, are the 6 centers interconnected or are they independent?
They have been independent earlier, but this new EENA is making this system like a networked. That is one of the biggest changes for earlier. So after next week, we have very big networked one virtual emergency center here in Finland.
Okay, thank you. And I'll put one more question here. We have a couple more questions, but as we're running a bit out of time, we'll do one more now, and then we can finish them after we've had the final presentation, just for people that need to go on time. So the final question is, do you expect problems with the automatic answers in Erica? For example, people disconnecting?
There is a lot of questions. I realize that, but now we have seen that it is making some things faster. Urgent calls we can handle faster than earlier, but there is also a lot of little questions what we must develop, and that is, for example, this automatic system don't lead directly to answer right answer, but anyway, we have done a lot of work with authorities, together with authorities cooperation. So we are developing this system, and very important thing is that all these authorities, they have responsibility of these questions and answers what we are making there.
Well, thank you very much. And I can see there is at least one more question, but we'll save that for the end of the webinar. So thanks so much for your presentation. And we can now move to our final speaker, which is Nick from Scottish Ambulance, who's going to be speaking about integrating AML and training. So over to you, Nick.
Thanks very much, Rose. And thank you very much to all the previous speakers. Found the presentations really quite interesting. It's good to see such variance of practice across the EU and further, given that we're all working towards the same challenges. So we can go straight on to the next slide, please, Rose. Okay, so we're going to jump straight in and talk a little bit about the training structure within Scottish Ambulance Service. Just to pick up on some of the questions that have been answered by the previous speakers. In Scotland, we have 3 ambulance control centres. All of these centres are virtually connected, which allows us to, at any time, close one and enable the call handling and the dispatch of resources to be picked up by the remaining 2. Actually, some of the testing that we did in the last 6 months or so suggests that we're able to close 2 of our centres if we need to. As long as we have one open, we should be able to manage our workload safely, which is a huge plus for us. So I'm just going to talk about clinical training because that's all that affects the control room mostly. And within the non-clinical training structure, we have that separated down into systems training, and that's in regards to our CAD software, which is C3, and also our call assessment software, which is ProQA. Because in Scotland, as with the majority of the UK, we run ANPDS, which is a triage tool used across the world. And the software for that, as I say, is ProQA. So that's all captured by our systems training team. The other side of training is operational training. And the ops training guys look after more to do with how processes, procedures, and are implemented within the control room itself, and that's at both dispatcher and call handler level. We found it really useful to be able to separate out dispatcher and call handler training because it allowed us to develop staff that didn't want to do dispatch but did want to progress from call handling into another role, such as training and development. And we found that those staff that have been call handlers for perhaps many years, with a little bit of development, made really good trainers for call handling, and there was no real requirement for a call handling trainer to be dispatch trained as well. So we found it really helpful to separate those out. Within the ambulance control rooms across Scotland, our call handlers only process 999 calls for ambulance, and they only process the call as well, so they will not dispatch. That's a separate function which requires further training. Just to touch on some of the points that we've talked about in the other presentation, the length of training for emergency call handlers is around 8 weeks. That consists of systems training and triage training, as well as a period of mentored training as well, which is where the newly qualified call handlers will take live calls over the phone system with a qualified member of staff working next to them. And we tend to start them off on our urgent calls, which are from hospitals and other healthcare professionals. And then the next stage is to continue with the same and add in calls from other emergency services, which would be the police and fire and rescue. And then the final stage of the mentored training is to take calls from the general public over 999. Dispatch training is approximately 4 weeks, and that builds on the training of emergency call handlers and is mostly around additional functionality within our CAD system as well as how to use the radio system to be able to communicate with our responders out on the ground. So next slide, please, Rose. Thank you. So I'm going to talk specifically around AML and the training that we carried out to implement AML. One of the things that we identified early on is that the location searching part of any emergency call is a deeply ingrained behavior within call handlers. So we were acutely aware that it's something that we didn't want to change too much if we could help it. Now, I'm sure most people on the conference call will know that when you're trying to change something that somebody does all the time, it's really helpful if you can change it and the change is effective 100% of the time. So you ask them to stop doing one thing and start doing something else instead. With AML, that's not the case because AML is not available at source 100% of the time because we don't get it from landlines, we don't get it from very old mobile phones and in certain other specific circumstances as well. And that makes the training a little bit more difficult because we have to have the call handlers understand that sometimes AML is there and sometimes it's not, but when it is there, it's really important that they take the available information if it's appropriate and they use it. And that's the same with the previous techniques because third and fourth party callers may well present with AML, but they may be calling for an emergency that's in a different location altogether. So again, the call handler must be trained highly enough to disregard that information if it's not appropriate. And one of the big things we see with AML as well is the loss between other 999 and 112 control rooms. So in Scotland at the minute, we're looking to carry out a piece of work whereby if AML is received by the ambulance service and we later need to contact the police or fire and rescue, we can share that AML information with their call handlers, which is not the case currently. So presently when we receive calls from the police and fire or rescue for us to attend to assist them with their job, we don't get AML information even if they did, which again complicates matters for the call handlers. So there are all the challenges in the training that we look to address. And it would be fair to say that the training, although in theory is simple, in practice I think we found it more difficult than we first anticipated. Next slide, please, Rose. Thank you. So the training requirements of AML depend entirely on how the CAD provider has chosen to implement AML itself. And there's a little bit of advice that I can give around this. After I spoke at the EENA conference this year, I looked into how AML has been implemented in all of the CADs that are in use across the UK and tried to establish what the best practice would be. And essentially, that is to reverse the existing processes of location searching. Because currently, when a call handler processes a 999 call, they will typically search for house number, street name, and a town or a city. And they'll search an address-based gazetteer using those fields to try and determine the coordinates, which will be electronically sent to the resources, and the sat-nav systems will direct those resources to the scene, which is great. With AML, we already have the coordinates at the very start of the call, but we still need an address to allow the call handlers, the dispatchers, and the responders all to be able to talk about where this incident is, because we don't talk in coordinates or lats and longs or grid references. We talk in addresses. We say the incident is at number 10 on the high street in whichever town. So by reversing the process of the location search from address to coordinates and address, that gives the call handler all the pieces of the jigsaw that they need to put together and establish a location without having to do too much that's different. It's just in a different order. And that's the third point as well, really, on this slide, to reduce unnecessary changes for call handling staff. What we did find was important when speaking to the call handlers about making use of the AML information is that it's really important to update the QI or the audit processes to support staff to use AML, because I'm sure we've all dealt with investigations or complaints from emergency callers where the ambulance didn't quite go to where, or any other resource for that matter, didn't quite get to where it should have gone. And the root cause of the QI processes around location searching are that essentially the call handler must type into the computer what the caller is telling them, and that's largely unhelpful, especially if the caller is unwell or unable to communicate effectively or under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So we made sure we went to the extra lengths to update the QI processes to enable the call handlers to use the information from AML and state in the incident that they've taken an AML address or taken the AML coordinates rather than what the caller was telling them, because they've looked on the map and they've asked the caller some questions and they are confident that that is the right place to send the help. So if that call is later audited as part of the QI processes, the person auditing the call understands why they've used an address that might be slightly different to what the caller is telling them over the phone. Next slide, please, Rose. Thanks. Okay, so this slide shows a AML location that actually reported a road traffic collision at a intersection at a crossroads in a fairly rural part of Scotland. We did receive the AML coordinates for this call, which is why we have such a small blue circle there. In fact, we've received a number of incidents whilst using AML where the circle is small enough or the accuracy is great enough to be able to deduce which side of the road the caller has made the 999 call from. So that's how accurate this AML is if there are people on the call that aren't yet using it. The purpose of this slide is to show how we can use the functionality in the CAD to arrive at an address based on just the coordinates. Can we just can we run the animation, Rose? Yeah, perfect, thank you. So the CAD system that we use, and specifically the GIS part of the system, is clever enough to note that the incident is at the intersection of the A58 and the A707, just outside a town called Law, which is in Lanarkshire, and it's also identified that the nearest address to the AML coordinates is Kenton Lodge on the A58. If we just run the next one, please, Rose. So what we did in the UK is work with the CAD developers to be able to have the CAD system deduce this address that we can see at the bottom of the screen from the coordinates presented by AML. So that, just to recap, the coordinates suggest that the 999 call originates from the crossroads, but we don't have an address. So CAD has looked for the nearest property and deduced that the scene is 100 meters west of the nearest property, and that is the address that we'll go to. That's the address that will be stored in the incident record in CAD, and it'll be the address that's sent through to the mobile data terminal in the ambulance, so that the responders can read this information whilst their sat-nav system is busy navigating them to the coordinates. So I hope that's clear for everybody. I'm happy to take any questions on that. I think that might be it. Just come and check the next slide, please, Rose. Perfect. So there's my Twitter. If anybody wants to help increase my my follower count or ask me any questions. Other than that, thank you all very much for your time and for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much, Nick, for your presentation. Do we have any questions for Nick? Either write in the chat as usual, or you can speak over your microphone, whichever is easiest. And I guess you can ask also questions about AML to Nick if you have questions about those.
No questions for me.
It was obviously very clear, Nick.
Well, yes.
We have a
Hello.
remark. Oh, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, even French is my English not good. How many seconds have you allocation from the AML?
Okay. we don't particularly monitor the number of seconds. Across the UK, I know it's around 11 seconds average. So we will firstly take the location from the phone as provided from the PSAP, which will be based on cell site triangulation. And as that is being processed, if we receive a further location, then we take that to be AML, and that typically comes through around 11 seconds. In the UK, we will ask, when we open the 999 call, we will ask if the patient is breathing and if they are awake. They're the first things that we ask, and that buys us a little bit of time to be able for the AML information to arrive. Also, when it's arrived, we know straight away then whether if the patient is not alert, the patient is not in, then it's a high acuity case, and we will then pre-alert some of our resources to get them deployed as quickly as possible, rather than waiting for the full triage to take place.
Okay, I mean, 15-20 seconds is good or is not good?
Well, it's twice as long as the average in the UK currently. I'm not really sure why it would take so long, to be honest. The only thing I can think of is if the handset was struggling to determine its own location before it could send. But I know that EENA have a heap of information on this in the AML spec on their website, and it does mention that there's some settings in there that might be useful to help identify any timing issues.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And does anyone have any other questions for Nick? We have a remark from Estonia about the, we've talked a bit about the virtual 112 centres, so this is just a remark, it's not a question. But we have from Kaili, says we have a virtual 112 centre for quite many years here already. So far there's been no problems with that. Actually, it even helps reduce the risks. When one of 4 centres is not available, others can easily take over their work, and we've practiced this several times. So this is a message from Kaili, who we heard from earlier. So maybe if anyone has any questions for Nick or any of the other presenters that they haven't had chance to ask, you can now ask now. And we have one question in the chat, which is, how does continuous training take place? This is to Finland. This is to Juha-Veli. So how does continuous training take place in Finland? Is this during the shift, or is there time allocated for training every month or so?
So sorry, I didn't find microphone. It is so that actually we are continuing these trainings with all these shifts, but it is so that we are developing our training system because we have program that all centers and all operators should have the same training. But anyway, it is so that in all centers, we have 6 centers. We have these supervisors to ERICA, so they are leaving and they are bringing that information to these centers. And there is also a different kind of orders from authorities. So there is coming our experts, police experts, rescue experts, social and health experts, who are bringing these, and they are teaching and those supervisors there and specialists in centers, and they are continuing this teaching in all shifts in centers.
Thank you very much. We also have a question to all of the speakers, so you can jump in, whoever would like to answer. It's how do all of you integrate internal training when there is a shortage of personnel?
I'll go first with that It's very difficult when there's a shortage of personnel. We will look to, depending on what kind of training, whether it's classroom training or VLE, sorry, virtual learning, we'll look to ensure that classes are held at suitable locations to try and get as most people there. But really, if the kind of training is such that everybody needs to do it, then we will typically wait for people to come back and train them on a one-to-one basis when those people that missed the original training are available to come to work again. Typically, we see this with people who take a longer leave of absence, or for new parents who have had a long time away from work. There'll be a significant amount of training for them to catch up on, and that's a good opportunity for us to revisit any essential internal training that was missed.
Okay, in Estonia, actually, there are already planned in every quarter. There are some training days which are already planned. Of course, it's not very easy to organize trainings when there is a shortage of personnel, but still we somehow managed to do it. And also some extra hours when there is a new program and we really have to train everybody, then there are some extra hours and they are extra paid. That is also one solution.
In Finland, we have now this very big challenge about this ERICA, and as I told you earlier, we have done lot of trainings, and of course it is clear that we have so different kind of operators that there should continue these clinics, and as I told earlier, this quality management is one thing that we must develop and find their persons and also things what we should train more, and maybe that is one point what we are taking now after we have got this ERICA. But anyway, it is so that, as Kaili told, we must also take care of that all persons they have enough training, so because training and also this being is like hand in hand, so that is very important.
Here in Catalonia, well, that's a complex situation, okay, but we try to manage the situation, training everybody with extra hours, like said before, or focusing in the most important parts of the training plan, you know.
And we have one final question. We're running a little bit over, so we'll take this one as the last question. Do you use experienced operators to train colleagues? And that's an open question to all of the speakers. And we have Nick replying in the chat that yes. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything, any of the speakers.
Yes, in Estonia, it's quite same. Like I told that the call takers are trained at the Academy of Security Sciences, but still our employees who are experienced and so on, they are also giving lectures and making practical exercises at the Academy.
So in Finland we have also the same but in all centers we have specialists, 3 specialists for this who are also training, and then plus this one supervisor, ERICA supervisor, but anyway, the senior trainings are just a little bit difficult in our systems, because our ERC model is so it's so new, and so even you have, for example, experience from social health, police, rescue side. This is so special work that we can't so much use their experience for this. But there is still some very good operators who has training experience, but they are just only some what we are using.
Okay, so what's left to say is thank you for everyone for participating, and thank you to our speakers for their very interesting presentations. One thing to say is that actually if you want to know more about this topic, there will be a document published next week, which will be an update on our previous document on trailing 112 call takers and dispatchers. So look out for that on the EENA website towards the end of next week. And also you will get these presentations and the audio recording of this webinar. These will also be available to you, so you can check the EENA website for those. And if you have any questions, for example, on the AML specifications that Nick mentioned or anything else related to this topic, you can either contact the person with their details that you've seen on the slides, or you can also contact me on my email address, rm@eena.org, and I'll make sure that you're in contact with the right person who can give you this information. So thank you very much again for joining. Look out for the document next week, and also the slides and the audio from this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.